I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM players. Excuse the intrusion, and we are already lathered up because we just spent the last hour, particularly the last 15, 20 minutes, talking sports with the folks over at Disrupt TV. That was the part 2 of the crossover, and now we have crossed back.
That's right. We are back in the land of the living.
That was a lot of fun, though.
That was a blast. Well, Vala and Ray are awesome, really. I mean, they truly are. I just enjoy, it's like Vala will jump into sports in a minute. Ray doesn't know that much about sports, but he'll just go with it.
We should do a sports show and invite Ray and Esteban.
Yeah. Well, Esteban will talk. See, but Esteban's sneaky because he actually knows a lot more about sports than he lets on.
I know.
You notice how when he actually starts talking about, hey, Sven, when he starts talking about it, all of a sudden he's like throwing out things that you're thinking, well, wait, that had nothing to do with curling. How's he know about that?
No, well, see, here's the thing. He tries to show his ignorance by saying crazy things. And the reason that they're crazy is because he knew enough to try to make it sound as crazy as possible.
Right. Perfect. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Couldn't say that unless you knew it was crazy.
Yeah. Right. Like he knew he was going to get a stink eye reaction from saying this. That's why he said it. Not because he believed it or thought it. He was just going for the reaction.
Yes, that's Esteban, boy. That's our guy. That's the digital pestilence himself.
Man, I really wish Alan Bergson was on there. I don't know if he was. I don't think he was, because we owe Alan, the big laugh we got when we asked the question to the Disrupt TV guys, if they had a corporate narrative. And after about a minute of laughter, they actually came back with some interesting comments.
Yeah, none of which was a corporate narrative, though. Not a bit of it. There wasn't a single bit of that was the corporate narrative.
Yes, the crazy player. Would that be Esteban?
No, that's Sven.
Or Sven is the crazy. Or Sven, are you saying you are the crazy player?
I think he's thinking Esteban. He's got to be Esteban.
I just thought, no, that was fun. It was fun hanging out.
Well, they're awesome and brilliant too.
Absolutely. And the crossover, them joining us yesterday, and then we had our players and residents involved, and then today, I thought it couldn't have gone much better. I mean, really.
This seems to me we should try to talk. We have to talk to them about it since it's sort of half up to them, but we might want to regularize that crossover at least once a year, maybe.
At least an annual, because look, I know they did it a couple of times on Law and Order and Homicide: Life on the Street, so they did it at least a couple of times. So we could do. I think I think it was great. I really enjoyed it. The conversations were great on both sides.
Yep. I agree, and you know what? The guests were good too. I like both of the guests, Whitney Johnson and
James
Taylor.
Not that
one. This is a British version. They were both very, 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 very smart, very experienced, and
entertaining too.
Very entertaining, both of them. Good.
I have to admit, I feel kind of dumb because I never really knew of Whitney Johnson before. And then you look over at LinkedIn, and she's got like 1.8 million followers. So it's like, yes, they do. They put on a very good show.
Yes, amen.
Made us very comfortable. Oh, Disrupt TV equals great.
Oh, thank you. I think that's a compliment.
I'll take it as one.
I'm going to take it as a compliment because he has the Z in, so it must be us.
All right, then it's all good. All right. So, we started talking sports over there, and somewhere along the line, we got to talking about something that you had shown me a little earlier today about Charles Barkley, one of my faves, actually. He was one of my man. I love watching him as a player, and I think I love watching him as an analyst, announcer more than I actually did watching him as a player. That's how good he is at it. Yeah. And he always says what's on his mind. He's like straight, no chaser. He never sugarcoats it. And so it's always entertaining watching this guy talk. But something he said yesterday seemed to get people, mocking him and thinking he's like a dummy or something. I'm gonna let. Should we go with the video clip?
Yeah, let's go with the video so people can see what we're talking about.
I'm gonna hope this works. We'll see.
Yeah, this is last minute, folks. So
yeah,
we're not that. Let's say this: we are great believers in production values, but we are highly. I'd use the word transparent, but I absolutely hate the word. We have no qualms exposing the fact that we may not be able to pull them off either.
Right. All right. So let's see if we can get this.
All right.
Here and here. Let's see if we can do it.
Hopefully we can hear this. No sound. Nope.
Can they? The players, they can't see those people in the stands, can they?
No, they're virtual.
Can't see them.
Yeah, they see the same. They see the
Big
screen.
dummy is a screen.
Okay, there's a screen. It's a screen.
Oh, but they see faces.
They see everything. The same thing.
I was just asking. Maybe they were superimposing for the people at home.
It's like in baseball. You can look in the stands but not see anything when they have all those fans in the stands.
Yeah, so they don't.
Education.com.
You can't see those.
Okay, that's
have you never been on a conference call?
I asked a dumb question.
It is a dumb question. Have you never been on a conference call since the pandemic had started?
What do you mean?
A Zoom call, a Comcast call?
Yeah, but I'm talking about, like Shaq's in the stands. Do they only see that at home was my question.
Oh, my God.
They see the screen.
Okay, thank you, Ernie.
And they actually see basketball.
Don't try to embarrass me. Don't call me dumb on television. Can she wanted to know because she's nosy. Can they? The players, they can't see those people in the stands, can they?
No, they're virtual.
Can't see them.
Yeah, they see the same. They see the
Big
screen.
dummy is a screen.
Okay, there's a screen. It's a screen.
Oh, but they see faces.
They see everything. The same thing.
I was just asking. Maybe they were superimposing for the people at home.
It's not super.
It's like in baseball. You can look in the stands but not see anything when they have all those.
Bring myself back.
Yeah.
And bring you back. All right. So why were people clowning him?
It was ridiculous. I know why he asked the question. I mean, it's not all that complicated because if you look at history, when it comes to digital work, it's always been advertising and it's been focused around the TV viewer. It hasn't been focused around anyone who's in attendance at any game, player, coach, fan, any staff, nothing. So, for example, the one that always comes to mind for me is if you watch a Major League Baseball game, a national game that's being broadcast at Oakland, you would see the view that you always traditionally see from behind the pitcher toward home plate. And there's always, of course, the stands behind that. And there's ads all across the stands. So you see right behind home plate, you see an ad for NetSuite. Now, that was a digital ad, right? Nobody in the stands, if they looked down and they looked over, would see a NetSuite ad. They basically see the equivalent of a green screen, right? So to speak. It was there so they could constantly change. And, that's financially better for the teams anyway, because they could have multiple companies advertising the same space over time. Barkley was referring to that. Could the people at home only see it, or could the people actually there see it? Now, the reality is that what you saw there, what you actually saw at an NBA game, is a collaboration between the NBA and Microsoft, and specifically using Microsoft Teams, so that you saw an actual screen that was being projected to with actual people via Microsoft Teams who were also seeing the game right from home. But the players, because the screen is physical and there, could see it too. And so, for example, can't remember who it was, but one of the players saw some of his relatives who were watching the game. I mean, that was deliberate, right? It was set up so they could do that. But they also found other NBA players who they could see there. They found famous actors, who were projected in there. I mean, it was done in the spirit of kind of making it as realistic as you can, because you couldn't really hear them much. That was harder. But it was more the crowd sounds that were being piped in were mostly digital. But we're all digital. But you could see. But Barkley's question was perfectly legitimate. And, actually being called out by his colleagues there was ridiculous. And worse, being called out by social media, who basically couldn't do the job Barkley's doing. Even stupider, because it's a legitimate question from a guy who's basically seen what it's been historically. It's not like, oh, he's some ignorant guy. He's not. He's a bright guy. So I'm 100% on his side on this one. Yeah,
I mean, how can you not be? It's really easy to see what he was getting at. I think sometimes people just try to clown him for whatever reason. But we talked about this on the Disrupt TV show with the folks there. Not a big fan of the cutouts, but let me show you one that is kind of funny if I can do this real quick. All right, so here is a cutout at a baseball game. I guess the Royals are playing.
Right.
You know who the focus of that shot is? Who's that cutout? Do you remember that movie Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh, that's Bernie.
That's Bernie, who just so happens to be dead.
Yeah, that's
but Bernie made it to I guess the Royals game that's going on right now.
If judging, other than last night's, judging from the game, it's probably because the Royals were playing like they were dead. But one I found a little charming with the cutouts, I have to admit, was Juan Soto. It tested positive for the virus, so he was, the Washington Nationals. Of course, they're young, very young superstar. He's like 22 now, and he came back for his debut. So he had commissioned cutouts of his family for the game, right? So, and I'll tell you what, he had a hard time with that because the Nationals wouldn't let him put them behind home plate because obviously Delta is the only thing you see in a sea of seats there, and that would block Delta from the best view in the house. So they ultimately compromised, and he had to put it out in left field. But I thought it was sort of charming and cute. If you're I'm not a fan of cutouts either, but if you got them, you might as well play with them, or you might as well do something that at least is, that was a nice thing to do for himself. I just found it's kind of sweet that he has his family. He paid for cutouts for his family, and he put them out in left field, which honestly is, sort of, now kind of thinking about it, wouldn't be the worst business model either. You can actually make some money doing that as a team. You could actually have a agency that would build these cutouts and put them out there for some fee for fans.
Yeah, personalize it so that, it doesn't make sense for me to see it, but somehow figure out a way to, like, what did we go to some conference or somebody was showing us something where there's like thousands of people looking at this one thing, and they're each no, you know what? We were actually physically at this conference where if you could be like right next to each other and you can see two different things and you're looking at the same thing. I can't remember where that was.
Wasn't that a seat conference?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a seat conference.
Christina always used a lot of those virtual camera guys. The guys, we had that one camera, you remember one time where you could literally take a picture of an entire stadium and then zoom down to the individual and then tag the individuals. So you
remember there was that, and it also, I don't know how this happened, but you could see the same person in the shot in two different places.
Yeah. I think that was that same thing. The downside of that particular technology was the resolution had to be so high that there was no way to really reproduce that except at a literal physical venue where you could sort of print it almost. It was just too much pixels, man. It was so, that to me was, it was fascinating, but it was not, didn't really have the.
It may seem like we're on live every day, but we're not actually.
But most of the time we wake up and thank the Lord we're alive every day. It's more like that.
So, although next week, since we're doing the happy hour live stream, that will be 3 days.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Next week is the week.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Hey, Bob, you missed it. I don't know if you caught the Disrupt TV show a little earlier because we had Vala Afshar on, and he was holding up a picture of him and Larry Bird from like when he was a teenager. So how about that, Bob? Even I could appreciate that to a certain
That was
extent.
genuinely something, actually. It was very impressive.
It
I almost want to tell Vala. So I almost want to say to Vala, you look like his son. He didn't really, but I once saw Mickey Mantle do that to a little kid, and the little kid who obviously didn't even know who Mickey Mantle barely was, but the mother did, and so she was so excited that Mickey Mantle said that. So I thought, well, if I say the Vala looks like Larry Bird's son, he get all excited, right? And he'll be so happy. But
yeah. No, I thought I mean he has a pretty deep connection to the sports teams beyond just being a fan. I mean, he was, what was that company he worked for that did all the stuff with the sports teams?
Was it Intrusion?
I think that might have been.
Yeah, that was his gig before he was at Salesforce as chief evangelist. But he's pretty diehard sports fan. He's a wonderful man too, Vala. I tell you. One thing with Vala too, which is interesting, is, he was talking. I think he was talking about how he had done something with what? 50? Did he say 50 teams?
Something like that.
Yeah, I guess yesterday or the day before. He has great access to the teams because of Salesforce. It's fascinating, this whole Salesforce the sports penetration, I'll call it. So, historically, if you're looking at Major League Baseball, and less so, but still some of the basketball, NBA, a pretty decent chunk of the NHL and NFL, they use Microsoft Dynamics mostly for sales ops, really SFA kind of stuff. And as a result of that, I have guys like Frank Mesa, who runs Microsoft Sports Practice, and on the back end, you see SAP, and they have Scott McIntosh, who runs their sports practice, more on the analytics side.
Did we try to have him on? And
yeah, he had horrible connectivity problems. We can have him on, though. He's always happy to come on. He's a wonderful guy. And he comes from the sports side, too, which is really good. But the interesting thing is Salesforce doesn't even have a sports vertical. They have a guy who we had on, if you remember, I think it was our first ETI, wasn't it? Jay Pettigrew?
Yep.
Yeah, our first ETI, Jay Pettigrew, who runs actually new business opportunities for Salesforce and is a regional vice president, I believe. And he chose as one of the new business opportunities pro sports, but they still don't have the full vertical. They don't have anyone to really service it per se, but the level of penetration is such. They have I won't name the teams because I'm not sure they want it known, but they have multiple teams and at least one league I know of for sure. And they're gaining ground and they're replacing some of the other solutions out there in multiple places, which of course behooves them to get a sports vertical. The thing is that a lot of the ancillary technologies that sports teams and leagues are using, and I've just been finding this out by discussions with these teams these companies the last several weeks, they're all building out, even with no relationship to Salesforce at all per se, they're all building out connectors to Salesforce, right? Because you kind of have to now, which tells you Salesforce's penetration is gaining ground continually in the sports world without even having a formal vertical, which is both positive in terms of just Salesforce general momentum, but negative, and ultimately you do have to service the teams and leagues that you're getting the revenue from, whether it's a giant revenue piece or not. So I hardly advise Salesforce to do that, and get that vertical in place kind of now. And maybe Jay wants to run it. I don't know. That's up to you guys to decide. I can think of people in the sports world who'd like to be part of it, but do it.
Well, maybe Bob could help out because isn't Bob works for a big Salesforce shop? Hey, Bob, here's an opportunity, man.
That's right.
Do the sports stuff with Salesforce.
You're in charge. We're putting you in charge. We have the sports show, so we get to put you in charge.
Yeah, it's all up to us. So
always, it always has been.
That's actually part of our corporate narrative too.
Yeah, it's literally. I'd say it's 6x our normal corporate narrative. So 6x times 0 remains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I gone a little bit of a different direction, but lately, so I subscribe, of course, to the Rams YouTube channel. And lately, they stopped snickering, Bob. I could already hear you all the way over here. But anyway, so lately, they have been putting up these clips, you know, like 15, 20-minute recaps of years of like some of the, like, I think the one I've seen that goes back the furthest is 67.
Wow.
And that's with like you know, Roman Gabriel is the quarterback and the Fearsome Foursome are still around.
Wow.
And George Allen is coaching the Rams. You know, it's just and I'm fascinated by this stuff because, you know, I wasn't around to see all that back, you know, then you know, then I seen like they put out 73 and 74 and 5. So it's just been great. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I would pay additional money if I could get access to all the archives and I would watch that like I watch Netflix. Aren't they missing out on some revenue streams by not having like your favorite team can have their own like Netflix kind of channel and you can subscribe to it? I would be all over that.
So you know what? And as much as the Giants disappoint me, I would do the same when it comes to the NFL and the Giants. There's a lot tied up in that. Look, I mean, and the thing is, what makes it even more almost crazy they don't have that kind of channel is they have all those films archived thanks to Steve Sabol and the NFL films, right? I mean, those guys did probably the best job at archiving sports films in the world, bar none. And so they have everything they need from a content standpoint available. And it's just a matter. And from what I know, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but it came up in a conversation at Seed a couple of years ago. The digitization of those archives is 100%, right? Meaning it's 100%. It's done, right? Now again, I have nothing to verify that. I was just kind of told that in a conversation. So assuming it's true or close to true, then there's honestly no excuse not to do it, really. And look, obviously, the only excuse not to do it is they haven't thought of it yet for some reason, and it's worth them hearing. You know. That would be a gold mine for people. I mean, you know,
when we were all, oh, go ahead.
Baby boom. Every baby boomer in the world who has any tie to an NFL team is going to subscribe to that. Everyone, because it's our childhood, for God's sake.
Man, remember when we were just on with the Disrupt TV guys, and I think it was Vala who asked about would you subscribe to be able to kind of, what do you say? Like go into the future or do something?
No, actually to be immersed, to actually be immersed in a game, so that you would literally stand behind LeBron and blah blah blah.
And I said, yeah, that sounds great, but I wouldn't do it. But what I would pay for is if I could have the ability to be immersed in a previous game in the history, and somehow find my way blocking for Eric Dickerson or catching a pass. Well, it'd have to be like Roman Gabriel or Bob Waterfield or Norm Van Brocklin, because none of the other quarterbacks Kurt Warner, of course, all the other quarterbacks, but take me back, immerse me into my, like you said, into my childhood. Let me, you know, get it, break huddle with the Rams and shoot, it could be Lawrence McCutcheon, it could be Eric Dickerson, it could be whoever. Let me play in the background and be the fifth member of the Fearsome Force. That I would pay all kinds of money for that. Do something like that. Why aren't these companies really thinking out of the box to do this? Because to me, that's a gold mine.
Well,
and all that content.
Well, AR VR brings that into possibility. Look, I will tell you this. This is not, and I can confirm it if you want, but this is going to be shot. 11 years. Yeah, right.
Vince Ferragamo, I would make him win the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
But would you be willing to catch a pass thrown by Zeke Bratkowski?
That was before my time, man. I mean,
they're all before your time.
I mean, Bob Waterfield was even before Zeke Gronkowski.
Yeah, but you had Van Brocklin and Waterfield, man. One
on the same team.
I know. That's like staggering.
This will never happen again. They were actually ranked 1 and 2. The same guys on the same team were ranked 1 and 2 quarterbacks in the same year,
and both in the Hall of Fame, right?
Both of them are in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
You realize how amazing that is? That you have 2 quarterbacks on the same team who are ranked 1 and 2 and in the Hall of Fame, both of them. And they're on the same damn team, 1950, 51, 50, whatever, those years. But so listen to this. So about 10, 11 years ago, I came up with the idea for the novel I was going to write when I finally stepped down and retired. And what you described you would pay for is exactly the novel I was going to write, and still am.
I saved you time.
I'll be quoting you in there. So it was literally, the idea was you could immerse yourself. It was sort of a dark comedy, really, though. It's because you could immerse yourself in any league, any team at any time, and it would be like you're actually in the game. So like I always used it, of course, being Yankees, 1927 Yankees, you could play on that team, and in the stadium would look like the 27 stadium, and the fans would look like they were dressed for 1927 in the stands. The novel has some twists and turns that take it a little bit different direction, but the concept was built completely around the immersion into a historical period, specific team, and your ability to play in it. And that would be literally a service provided by companies out there who could do that. And that was the novel's premise is that. So
that would be cool. That would be cool. Now I want to throw something at you because I was on YouTube earlier. And I've been, like I said, I've been watching a lot of, old sports stuff like everybody else. They had this one show. It was top 10s. They do NFL Films does all these top 10 things. And this one was top 10 Mount Rushmores for individual teams. I have a problem with it because there's one team that wasn't in the top 10. So there was no Mount Rushmore for that, but that's besides the point. I can make my own Mount Rushmore. Okay. Anyway, so the Giants were in there. Do you want to guess who were the 4 faces on the Mount Rushmore of New York Football Giants?
That's hard, actually. I mean, that really. Well, Lawrence Taylor's got to be one of them. That one I can't imagine him not being. There's a marginal one though, but he won a Super Bowl. So this is one that's just done, right? I mean, it's like it takes into account recent players or what?
Pretty recent. Yep.
I mean, and this may be my personal preference though, but I put Eli in there. I would just do it because I love him.
He was in there.
Okay.
There was a lot of debate about it, but I think
it always is with him. But he gets my vote.
Okay. That's 2.
This is hard though. It's really hard.
Yeah, it said LT, but that's an absolute.
Yeah,
I mean,
LT. We've got LT and Eli. What's the other 2? Who was really the hard.
And I didn't say. I just said on the New York Football Giants. I didn't say it was relegated to just certain people that are associated with the Giants. I
don't know what that means.
That means it didn't mean it's just players.
Oh, so it can be. Are they actually like coaches and owners?
Yeah, could be
coaches. It's got to be a coach. So yeah, but
I'll give you a guess. It's not Ray Handley.
No, Ray. I'll put it this way: Jack Handy could have done better than Ray Handley. Right. So, literally, my least favorite coach ever, except for probably Pat Shermer. Best years. Right. So, well, I mean, I would put him there again. I ended up loving him, even though when he first came in, I didn't. I'd put Tom Coughlin up there because he got no. So it's going to be.
There was another Giants.
Ali Sherman.
My God, no.
No.
There's another.
Oh, are you talking about like all the way, all the way, all the way. Like you're not talking about like Vince Lombardi as a coach.
No, not quite that far. But I'm talking 80s here.
Oh.
It's an obvious.
Oh, God, yeah, you're not kidding. And then he was stolen by the you know who.
Yeah.
All right.
The big tuna, Parcells.
I don't mention his name anymore. Once he went to the Patriots, that was the end of it.
So that's 3.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'd put him there, though. I would put him there. Although, I loved him when Parcells was us, I loved him. But when he went to the Patriots, I didn't love him anymore. Who's the 4th?
You know what? There was so much conversation. I kind of lost track of who they said it was the 4th Giant. Because they started talking about Phil Simms and they started talking about.
I actually was considering him, but then do you think it was the 4th? Do you think like a different position altogether?
It could be.
Yeah. Because I mean, we don't. There are players we've had great receivers over our lives. Like Gifford was actually a genuinely great receiver, but I'm not sure he belongs on a Mount Rushmore.
And didn't you have some pretty good defensive guys too?
We had a lot of them, but that was the problem. We had a lot of them. Harry Carson, I mean, who's awesome. And
who's the man in the middle?
Oh, well, what's his name? I'm blocking it. I know.
The violent world of.
No, I actually have his picture of his face right in my head, but I'm completely blocking the name, which is ridiculous because he's known past the Giants.
Right. Because he went to the Redskins too.
Right. And he's in the Hall of Fame too.
Yeah, and they did that at the documentary on him, The Violent World. Sam Huff. Sam Huff.
And the funny thing is, Sam Huff was actually, you know what he was called when he played, right? Keep in mind he was defensive. They didn't call him centers back. They called them middle guards. Wow. They did. They used to call him middle guards. He was a defensive middle guard.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I loved Sam Huff. I mean, he nothing he did wrong. He couldn't do anything wrong ever. He was like the perfect player until he went to the Redskins. So,
all right. I think I'm gonna have to look it up because quite honestly, they started talking about all these names, and I forgot who the 4th. I don't think it was Phil because they said Eli kind of took Phil.
So we have Eli, we have Parcells, we have LT.
So who would you put as the 4th then? Who would you put?
See, I just named 2 people I might put there, right? Which is Sam Huff or Harry Carson. I mean, both of them were fantastic.
So who would you go with?
Of the 2?
Yeah, you got to pick one.
In the interest of era representation, I picked Sam Huff. But if I was really being the thing is, a lot of these are done on the basis of how far back people remember, not how much they know of the history. So I'm picking up from the emotional standpoint, I would pick Harry Carson.
So this is, let's say this is your Mount Rushmore for the Giants.
Surely on the 2. Sam Huff was probably more important to that team, that era team, than Harry Carson was, because Harry Carson was playing with a number of greats. Sam Huff was playing with a number of very goods, right? But he was a great. And so I would personally pick Sam Huff, but it's not how it work usually.
I want to show you, and we'll get back to this in a second, but I saw this tweet. I'm like, yeah, okay. It's apparently Alan must have maybe not been watched. Oops, I didn't want to do that ad stream. There we go. So good old Liz, do you have a corporate narrative for your show? I've never seen laughter erupt so fast. And they blamed it on Alan in person. And Alan retweeted it.
Oh.
And liked it. All right. Okay. Just wanted to put that out there because I thought that was funny. All right. So Nitin is here. I see Nitin. Steelers. So the Giants Mount Rushmore is ranked number 10.
10 of the 10. It's the 10.
Yeah. The Steelers and I find this kind of annoying. Steelers were only ranked number 5. They're Mount Rushmore.
Really?
And their Mount Rushmore consists.
No, you want to have if Nitin,
it's Nitin.
Want to bring him on and see if he
Nitin, let us know if you want to come on and take a shot at who the Steelers Mount Rushmore was.
If you're still here, drop a comment so we can get you on.
I'll tell you who was the number one Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
It was the Niners. So take a shot at who the 4 Niners are.
I don't know.
That is real. And once again, players, coaches, owners, GMs.
Well, Bill Walsh is going to be there then.
Yeah, he to me
that's the easiest one.
To me is he's the best coach there ever was for me, and that's hard saying that for me because I'm a Rams fan.
No, look, it would be hard for me to say it too, but it's true. There's no doubt. He not only revolutionized the sport, he took advantage of the fact he revolutionized the sport, and really, he didn't just like change the game; he built the game. No, Nitin, come on, we want to bring you on the show. Bring him on. See if
he's got to. Well, if he wants to come on, we can shoot him a.
Yeah, hey Nitin, come on the show. Say yes or no.
He's got 2 of them though. He's got, and it's the other 2 are pretty obvious. Well, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the other 2 are pretty obvious. Although that's a tough team too. You can make a case for a lot of players.
Yeah, that one actually would be harder than the Giants. Jesus.
Hey, Jesus. I'm gonna say, well, if he doesn't show up and then say he's able to come, that's okay.
Yeah.
The other 2 are the blonde bomber. Remember, Terry Bradshaw, of course. And then the last one is Franco.
Yeah. But they have so many others that could have been.
Yeah. I mean, look, that whole like Jack Lambert. When I think of the Steelers in the 70s.
What I thought of was Jack Lambert. Exactly.
He is with those teeth missing. Oh my God. He was like.
That's why he's not up. Hey, Marshall. That's why.
Oh, no. Let's ask Marshall. So Marshall's a Jets fan. Marshall and
top 10?
Not at all.
Yeah.
But I was just if Marshall, if you had to choose the Mount Rushmore for the Jets, who would they be? Who would be the 4 faces of Mount Rushmore for the Jets? Jack Splat? No, man.
No.
Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris were the other 2. I don't even know who Jack Splat is. That's kind of a weird name.
What's his name? Nickname?
Like Jack Sprat?
No.
Jack Splat.
Maybe
Jack Lambert. Yeah.
Nickname.
His nickname for me was Toothless because that dude.
That's why he's not on Mount Rushmore. Imagine that.
No, remember his nickname was the Jack-O-Lantern because of his name was Jack and he had no teeth.
Well, this is why he was not on Mount Rushmore. That would be so ugly. Like the ugliest guy on Mount Rushmore. Okay.
Marshall. Oh wow. Give me okay. We'll give you some time. I'm gonna go. I think the number 2. Oh, the another one was the Bears. The Bears had an interesting one. You want to take a shot at the 4 on the Bears?
I'll take a couple of shots, I guess. Ditka got to be on there somewhere.
Whoa.
No.
This is the history of the Bears.
Well, George Halas, then obviously.
Yep, he's there.
That has to be.
It might be. This might be a little harder than you think.
No, actually,
to get all 4 of them. So you got one.
Man.
Mark saying. The thing, he would not be the face on Mount Rushmore. There would be a butt for Mark Sanchez.
That's right. Let's see.
Okay, so you got Papa Bear House. He's one.
Gale Sayers. I mean Walter Payton. Gale Sayers. Walter Payton. 2.
There's another very obvious one from the Gale Sayers era. I mean, the exact year of Gale Sayers coming in.
Listen, you have to realize my mind doesn't work that way.
Okay, his name
pointed like that, it doesn't work.
His name rhymes with Click Rutkus.
Oh, of course. How could how could I forget Rick Rutkus?
You never wanted to face Click Rutkus. when you were playing the Bears, man.
Right, Rick. That's the guy. Yeah, yeah. I think I get that one.
So that's number 3. That's number 3. Now, number 4 is going to be hard.
Right. That's thank you. Nitin's got it. Butkus, right?
I used to thought his name was spelled like Buttkis. You know.
Oh wow! And if you told him that, he would have literally put you into the ground.
He really would have.
Right.
All right, so one more for the Bears. I think this is going to be a little tough, man. I really think this is going to be tough.
Oh God!
Wait a minute, Alan is here. So Alan, we've asked Marshall to name the 4 faces of the Jets Mount Rushmore. He hasn't come back with a name yet, so you might want to help him. You got to have Joe Namath, right? Did he say Joe Namath?
Marshall has 4 names.
Oh, he does. Where? I didn't
comment it. Here. I can't put up the comment.
Where is it? Oh, I didn't see that one. All right, so he has Broadway J, of course. Keyshawn. I mean, Pat Leahy's foot.
Yeah,
Wayne Corbett. Oh my God!
The Jets have to stretch it quite a distance.
That's terrible. I would put Emerson Boozer on there just because I just like his name. Come on, there's got to be. Wait a minute. The tall wide receiver that Broadway Joe threw to.
Yeah. Oh crap. Yeah. Oh, he was great actually. I would something. Yeah.
I can't. You guys, come on, Jets. Altoon, come on.
No,
Richard Todd. Oh, probably had better years with the Saints.
I
don't know, Jets. You guys, there's Don Maynard.
Don Maynard. Yes, absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer, I think.
Maybe even John Riggins because it's getting slim pickings here.
John Riggins.
Yeah, remember he was with the Jets first.
What?
Remember he had the mohawk with the Jets.
Yeah, but I mean, he goes on the Redskins one.
What about the dude that did all the sacks in the 80s? Gastineau, Mark Gastineau.
Oh, Mark Gastineau, yeah.
I didn't like the guy, but he
was he's also, I think he's a marginal Hall of Famer too. But I know I'm pretty sure Don Maynard was a Hall of Famer.
I don't even know who the hell Chris Ward is. Who's that?
I thought that's a guy who was on the Knicks.
Oh my God, Brett Favre. Come on the Jets.
Sad. This is so sad.
This is really bad, man.
This is so sad.
I'm telling you, we're gonna have to put Mark Sanchez's butt or whoever that Mark Sanchez ran into.
I think we have 3 genuinely legitimate candidates for that, which are Namath and Gastineau and Maynard. Those
what about
legitimate?
Okay, Click Rutkiss, could he come over?
No, but maybe Rick Nutkiss could. I know he is, but it doesn't matter. There's a lot. I think Marshall has a lot of POSs on those.
You know what? Instead of Gastineau, let's put Joe Klecko on. He was part of the New York Sack Exchange. I like Klecko. He was kind of I never knew the Jets had that much trouble getting like 4 really named people on that Mount Rushmore.
It's pretty amazingly sad.
It is. What about the Cowboys? That's a tough one. Who would you put on the Cowboys?
Ever? Well, we know.
Well, you know 2 of them, Landry and Roger Staubach.
Yeah, but also Tom Landry. I mean, honestly, he was a great coach.
That's what I said, Landry.
Oh, I thought you say that.
And Staubach, and I would put Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, actually, the Cowboys have too many.
That's what I'm saying. How can you? Yeah. That's a tough. Who would be the 4th? I think we got 3 of them right. I think
I just wrote. I just typed in New York Jets 4 best, and the New York Jets Mount Rushmore came up.
Who do they have?
Actually, you know what? To their credit, that's not a bad group. Is that you? Or is that me?
No, that's you.
Oh, that's dramatic music. It sounded pretty good. Okay, so
Freeman McNeil. Oh my God.
No, it has no. So here's who they have. This is the Mount Rushmore of Jets players: Joe Namath, Don Maynard, as a close second. Curtis Martin, who was a great running back for them.
Right. I think of him with the Pat Patriots too. So.
Yeah, but he came to the Jets later, and it says here he became a 5-time Pro Bowler and 2-time first-team All-Pro.
And I think when he retired, he was like top 5
and Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's true.
And the fourth one was mildly surprising, but not totally. I'll give you his initials, see if you can pick it up. And anyone, Allen Marshall, DR. Another Pro Bowler, core of the Jets team during his time with the Jets. His time with the Jets.
DR. Offense or defense?
This is recent.
Oh, I'll never know.
This is
offense or defense. Oh, Revis Island.
Yeah, you got it. Darrell
Revis.
Darrell Revis. Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That he definitely deserves to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, those 4 genuine.
Somebody really likes Altoon out there.
What is with Altoon?
You know what's funny about Altoon? You know, I think he was drafted the same year, and he was like the number 1 or 2 draft overall. You know who was also in that draft? Jerry Rice.
Well, we see which one.
That is why Bill Walsh is the best coach ever.
Right. and that's why Jerry Rice is one of the other 3 on the 40.
American
Joe Dio served coffee.
So we had 3 for the Cowboys. Did we ever get the 4th?
No, we would. It's sort of the surfeit of riches kind of problem here.
Yeah,
the 3. Now we're talking about. So we had Landry,
Staubach, Landry, and Emmitt
Smith. But then it could have. I mean, I don't know if I put him there really, but guys like Bob Hayes used to be a big deal, and
Bullet Bob, man.
Bob was great. I mean, he was great. I still think,
the original Mr. Cowboy was Bob Lilly.
Yeah, Bob, a fantastic, actually, defensive player. What's his name too? Look, Don Meredith was a hell of a quarterback. He really was. Regardless of how you cut it, the guy was a really good quarterback for the year.
He was overshadowed because he could never win the big one.
Right,
not his fault, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. They had so many good players. I mean, they have players who on other teams now might even be in their Mount Rushmores if the fact they just weren't overshadowed. Like they had a receiver back in the late 60s, mid 60s named Frank Clark, who was incredible. He was the same as Frank Gifford. He was what they used to call a flanker back, right? A flanker, right? And he was great. The guy was great. Yeah, I'm going to go with Aikman on this one, number 4. I just think that's who it is. I don't necessarily think he's the one who should be. If I was picking my emotional choice and it was Bob Hayes or Aikman, I'd pick Bob Hayes. But Aikman's got
that's yeah. I mean, I hate the Cowboys, but they do have a lot of great players in their history. I mean,
honestly, if Bob Lilly really does belong in the spot.
He was Mr. Cowboy. He was like their very first draft pick,
and was just a great player, and again, a Hall of Famer.
And he played like 14 years. He was like All-Pro 10 years or something like that.
Well, here's another question, though. It could also be Jimmy Johnson, another coach.
Could be, but I don't think it was
what he did, right? I mean, it was amazing.
I don't think he was there.
No.
But because Landry, I mean, he was there for 29 years. Yeah. Jimmy was only there for like a handful, but he won 2.
Yeah.
People think he won 3, but he really won 2. And Barry Switzer Budinsky'd his way in for that. That could have been just like most people think that Bill Walsh won 4. He only won 3. And the other dude, George Seifert, won the other 2 by just replicating Bill Walsh's system for as long as he
And again, by that standard, we could probably come up with 10 Bill Walsh won. Anyone who did the Pacific, the Pacific.
Okay, so did we finish the Niners? So the Niners was
right now we
want to take a shot.
That we know of, which was Walsh and Rice. Those are the only 2 I think we named so far.
Right. So there's 2 more.
I have to think through. Again, we're dealing with all of history of these teams, so you can't just pick recent people, right? You have to.
Well, let's put it like this: there are no recent people for the 49ers. One is obvious. You come on now. This is the Niners. Walsh and Rice are the only two you name. They had a couple of really good quarterbacks.
Oh, for God's sake! Yeah, I gotta forget that. Ryan with Schmo Nevada.
Yeah, Joe Niagara or Fred.
That's right.
Okay, so Nitton got the other two.
Yeah, that's it, Ronnie Lott. That makes
and you can't argue with that.
No,
you can't argue with that.
Well, they're four of the greatest players in the history of the game. Period.
Jerry Rice may be the greatest. He's absolutely the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Well, without a doubt.
Ronnie Lott to me is probably the greatest safety of all time.
Yeah.
Bill Walsh, I mean, you already know what I feel about Bill Walsh. That just leaves Montana, who's in the top 3. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 3 to 5. I'm there.
That's a hell of a Mount Rushmore. That you can't argue with that.
No, that's the number one for good reason. It's true.
Yeah, it
makes complete sense.
Who was the number 2? Oh, I can't remember who the number 2 one is. It might have been the Cowboys, because the Steelers are like number 5.
Yeah,
the Steelers are behind the Patriots.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
The Patriots one, I was not impressed with. Well, then again, would you be surprised?
No.
All right, so you want to go with the Patriots one?
I don't even
take any guesses.
I mean, there's a couple of obvious ones which were current recently. Yeah, Tittle's going back too far.
Yeah, well, at least for the Giants,
just didn't make the Giants one.
Yeah, right. So, all right, there's some obvious ones.
He was going back to Tittle from the 49ers, which was his team before the Giants.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No way is he ahead of Montana or
Marshall, man. He's kidding.
Yeah, please. So you
see Bob Fagel has all 4 already, I think. Like, who's he got?
That's not it, but those are his. So
no, 2 of them on there are definite.
Yeah, Belichick and Brady are 2. The other 2,
Vince Wilfork and Robert Kraft.
No ways, Robert Kraft.
Oh,
it was. I'll give you a hint. One is an old school Patriot from the 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
Place kicker.
This guy was but it was not a glamour position. Let's put it like that. And the other is a recent guy who actually is still playing.
I'm sure if I hear the 70s guy, I'll know what it is. I'm just not thinking of it particularly.
Dave Remington.
Oh God, yeah. Well, wow. Actually, though, that does raise a question, though. Kind of what I said, place kicker. Did any place kickers make any Mount Rushmore?
Probably not. But I'll tell you who. Great. I think who should have made the Patriots Mount Rushmore is the ref that called that dumb tuck rule. That's the guy who should be on the Mount Rushmore, Bob. Why did you put that guy in there? Because it all started with that.
To be on with Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, the butt fumble guy and the ref that did the tuck rule.
The Mount Rushmore butts.
Seymour Butts should be on there. Okay, so Dave Remington was the 3rd. The last one is very recent, still playing.
I have a hard time thinking Patriots.
His name rhymes with.
Don't even do it. Just tell me it's
Kronk.
Yeah, there we go.
Kronk.
Sure, of course. I mean, it's hard not to say that.
So you're saying Pat? Yeah, I'm sorry.
He made it for Notre Dame.
Unfortunately, let's see, the Rams were not in the top 10, which I have a strong problem with.
But there probably is. Who you're for?
See, the Rams are very hard because we have a very long story tradition. Goes back well beyond the Super Bowl era.
Okay, well, I have the Fox News Mount Rushmore for the Rams here.
All right. See, I don't trust Fox News.
Let's see. Well, I'll put it this way: knowing your proclivities, you're probably mostly there.
Cheers as the NFL.
Okay.
All right. I know one immediately is going to be Deacon Jones.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing the guy next to Deacon Jones might be there too, Merlin Olsen.
Now you'll be surprised. Actually, you'll be more than surprised.
So Merlin isn't on there?
No, I didn't say he wasn't on there. He wasn't next to Deacon Jones. So I'm going 1 through 4 directly.
Oh, but okay.
Deacon Jones was number 1.
Obviously. And Merlin's got to be what, 3 or 4 then, right?
3.
Okay, so that makes it a little easier, but now it gets tough because
not really.
I'm going to say, of course, Eric Dickerson should be there. So he's number 2.
Exactly. Now, number 4 is where it gets tough. Meaning, when you
it's going to be either
but at the same time, could be other people.
Not Kurt Warner.
Nope.
Not Marshall Faulk.
Yep. They have him as number 4.
You can't really knock it, but it's just so hard because so many people are getting left off of this thing, man. Like Crazy Legs Hirsch should get serious consideration. Of course, Bob Waterfield or Norman Van Brocklin. Jackie Slater should have. I mean, he was like around for 20 years.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. They could have five of their own 5. That's the guy I was trying to remember, though. But he, regardless of not liking it, he was the greatest. He might be the greatest place kicker in history.
Probably is.
Yeah, and arguably, that's why I'm saying I don't get how that guys like him aren't on a Mount Rushmore with how many damn games they actually won with that foot, right? I mean, which is like, and not only won, but won improbably, like 58 yards in the middle of snow. You know, they just do it, right? Guys like that belong in that kind of pantheon. And Vinatieri, to me, on the Patriots, I put him on their Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I would, because their Mount Rushmore sucks. So.
Why not have another one? Right.
But I mean, when you think about the Mount Rushmore for the Rams, they're all pro Hall of Fame dudes.
Yeah.
And that's leaving off a whole bunch of other.
But look, Bob came up with another one. Jack Young.
Yeah, Jack Youngblood. I mean, the only reason he's not there is because, God, how can you take off the Deacon? I mean, you know,
we can't.
And you can't take off Merlin because Merlin was like he went to like 14 straight Pro Bowls or something like that.
Well, the thing is, the top 3, you literally can't replace them. No matter.
Of course, Eric Dickerson, he's one of the top 5 running backs of all time.
That's what I'm saying. Those 3 are irreplaceable on the Mount Rushmore. The 4th is where Marshall, but you can't deny him either.
No, because he was the engine behind the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
I mean, Kurt Warner pulled the trigger, but man, Marshall, he was one of he was only the second guy to do the 1,000 rushing and receiving in the same year. Yeah. He had like 1,300 yards rushing one year. The same year he had like 1,000 or 1,100 yards receiving, and he had like, if I'm not mistaken, like 23 or 26 touchdowns.
Damn.
Yeah. So I mean,
I don't know. I'll tell you, my candidate for the Mount Rushmore of the Giants was Homer Jones.
That's that wide receiver you like to talk
about. That's my man. Before we close, let me show everybody. I want to show everybody his data. I want the people here to see this.
Oh, okay.
I really do.
And just for for fun, Bob, who is your Patriots Mount Rushmore? Put them down there for us.
All right.
Do I have to do something?
I don't know. Let me see if I can share the screen. I may be able to take it over to the. Let's see.
Or if you want to shoot me the link.
No, I got it. Chrome,
okay.
You actually share a Chrome tag. Here it is.
All right.
I want people to look at these numbers up here. I want you to look at particularly these numbers for a career. And it's not like, I mean, the guy, look at he 224 passes in his career, averaged 22.3 yards per reception. And I want you to look at this. Out of 224 passes, 36 of them were touchdowns. So you're talking about what? 15% of the passes, roughly, touchdowns. And look at this year in particular for touchdowns. He led the league in touchdowns with a grand total of 49 receptions, and he had 13 touchdowns. And look at this year. With this was 26 receptions, but he averaged 27.3 yards per reception. I mean, this guy was spectacular. And look at it when he ran, what happened. Other than his last year with the Giants there, he averaged 8.6 yards a carry. This guy was fantastic. I used to watch him, and I was entranced with him. He was faster than Bob Hayes. I'm not kidding.
Jesus.
He was faster than Bob Hayes. He ran 100 in a faster time, if I remember correctly, and I think I do. But he never got that was especially when the Cowboys were America's team. You know, now they're really not, but they keep saying it. But Homer Jones was one of the most underrated players in football history, given what he actually did. One of the most exciting players in history. He literally could just outrun you, period. And just keep. And the thing with him, he had very sure hands, so he could just keep going. So, you know, you were watching a guy who, if he had a little bit more, you know, personal charisma, I guess, could have been a true. And actually, it was on the 64 Giants were a very good team. After that, they weren't so good. So the Giants became less of an interesting team. Resulting effect is he didn't get the kind of visibility he should have. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, those numbers are off the charts. And I put him on my Mount Rushmore just because I'm probably the only person who genuinely appreciates what that guy did his entire career. He blew me away. It was one of the most exciting things in my childhood was watching Homer Jones catch something and run with it.
That's cool. I mean, that's like me with, you know, like Harold Jackson, like those 70s Ram teams, that a special place in the old heart there.
That's another one for the Mount Rushmore too, Harold Jackson.
Yeah, he was great. Henry Eller was great. Yeah. So was Isaac Bruce. He just got into Hall of Fame. I mean, we got a lot of guys, man. It's and you know that the Rams team in that 50 season, was it 50 or 51? Those guys averaged 38 points a game.
Oh, that's the first year. I think it was 50 the first year they came into the league to the NFL.
No, they were in the NFL from 1937.
37.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? The Browns came in 47.
Yeah, they were part of the All-American football.
Right. And then there was someone else who came into the league with the Browns, I thought.
Yeah, there was was it the Colts?
I don't remember. Next show,
like one of those kind of. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna probably have a guest on the next show, though. I know you guys are probably totally bored of us.
I don't know. Oh yeah, I would be. Instead of going with my teams, how about the mark of the? Oh no, I can't do that. That's too hard, man. Can you do that? No. And I love Rosie Greer. Actually, Rosie grew up with my dad. Rosie Greer came to our house when I was like 18 and getting ready to graduate. And Rosie is like 6'7" and 300 and something pounds. And when he asks you a question about what are you going to do for the rest of your life, boy, you kind of like buckle. you don't know what to say. And that's exactly what Rosie did when he came to our house. The first thing he said, what are you going to do with the rest of your life, boy?
Wow.
I'm kind of just trying to survive this visit that you have at our house.
He was a hell of a giant, though. He was
a better giant than he was a Ram, because he was a Ram. Rosie played in that greatest game of, the greatest game ever, that one with the 58 championship against the Colts and the Giants.
And that was Sam Huff and Rosie Greer on the same team. Rosie Brown, too, who was on the same team with them, and he was great. That's the thing. Those teams, they were unstoppable, but tough. Oh, my God, they were so tough.
Remember, there's a guy, I guess we're going to have to close this down. But
we should shut it down.
There's a guy who is more known for this other teams he played on, but he was drafted by the Rams and still holds a record for interceptions in a year, 14. You know who that guy is? He's known for something else, and he's got one of the coolest nicknames of all time.
He's on the Redskins. He went to the Redskins, didn't
he? He went to a couple of other teams. I know the Lions is the one I think he spent the most time.
Train Lane.
That's it.
No, he never made the Redskins. Night Train Lane, yeah, man. You want to talk about one of the nastiest players in the history of the game? That was him. Well,
they outlined the clothesline because of him.
Yeah, I remember him. I saw a game that I don't remember even. It was just a game on. Wasn't the Giants? It was one of the earlier games that they were covering that was national. He knocked. I can't even remember who it was now, but knocked him out.
He knocked a lot of people out.
Well, the only hit I saw harder than that. Well, not that I saw, that I know of, harder than the one I saw with Night Train Lane was
Bednarik.
Right, Bednarik, Gifford. That was
flattened him.
I still think that was half dirty. So, but I'm a Giant.
I'd never seen a guy just like fold like that.
No, well, he broke him basically.
Yeah, that was
but Night Train Lane wasn't. He wasn't really that dirty. He was just
that was a legal hit at the time.
Yeah. You know, and he was tough. And nothing stood in that guy's way, man. Nothing. Ooh.
So they outlawed the the clothesline for him, and of course the other outlawed hit from the Rams was Deacon with the head slap.
Congratulations, Rams.
I know. I take pride in both those moves.
That's right. Two outlawed hits on one franchise.
And who coined the phrase sack?
I don't know who.
Deacon.
He did? Yep. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Not surprising. Look, we want to talk about a player that other team, but I have always loved. That's him, man. Deacon Jones. I was in awe of him. And again, he's not catching balls or throwing them, or running with them. But boy, when you want to see a guy do what's supposed to be done in a game according to the way it's supposed to be done, and never, to my knowledge, again, I didn't see him that much, but I never saw him fail at anything. Right? It's like I never saw a missed tackle or
he was amazing.
Oh.
You know who he ended his career with?
Cool when you would watch him, like he'd be interviewed and you see him talk.
Remember his commercials? Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm going to break your face.
Yeah. Well,
I just love those guys, man. All right. Well, we better. It's been 2 hours. We somehow turned the Disrupt TV show into at least the last 20 minutes sports talk. And then that carried over, of course, to what we do here, which is sports talk.
So we've had a solid hour and a half of sports talk today.
Yes, we have. It was great. I enjoyed it all.
Me too. And thanks for everyone coming again, showing up.
Yes, absolutely. And you want to pitch what we're going to do again next week for the first time ever?
Oh, yeah. Okay, actually, a couple of things. So next week's happy hour, and anyone here who would like to sign up or who has signed up should at least, you're going to be getting an email asking you to be okay with this. We want to do for the first time an actually live happy hour, meaning it's not behind closed doors as we always are, but it will be broadcast publicly on LinkedIn Live, Facebook, like we broadcast this really. Via still Zoom, still sign up same way, but anyone who registers for that needs to be aware of the fact that it will be live. We'll be sending out a permission notice to everybody who is registered. If you're not registered and you want to be on it, sign up and just be aware of the fact. And then the idea is basically, we don't know if anybody's going to watch it. And, but if maybe they will, maybe they won't. If they don't, then we'll just have a happy hour that will be broadcast. But beyond that, we may have some other comments from Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, or Twitter or Periscope, whatever, comments out there that we might want to bring into the discussion and shoot the breeze with other people. And maybe we'll have the link ready and they can come on in if they want to. They can join the happy hour while we're in the middle of it. So
should be fun.
And the other news I want to announce is Elements.cloud has just joined the BYOB 2020 Battle of the Bands. We're up to 11 verbally confirmed bands. Remember that, Alan? You're verbally confirmed. We don't have your permission, your registration slip back. Nitin ServiceNow is verbally confirmed also, but we don't have the registration back yet. I'm just checking on who's around. But we have 11 in, and we have 4 more considering. And if the other 4 all come through, we'll close out the number. But we'll go 15 is the maximum. 11, we're on. So be prepared for the next set.
Yes, and also, yeah, it should be interesting because we have some really great conversations on the happy hour. It'll be interesting to see if streaming it live to a non-studio audience, does that change the dynamic of the conversations? I don't think it will, but
I don't either. And some of them can join us in progress. That would be kind of cool, you know. So
absolutely.
We'll see. Other than that, we'll just have another great conversation.
And that brings the end to another great week of conversations. And this, at least the last 2 days, I mean, it was fun doing the crossover. It was great having Vala and Ray on with us. It was great having our players and residents also on with us for that yesterday.
Hell of a show.
Good couple of days.
Amen, brother.
All right. So with that said, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and we will see you next week live on multiple days. See ya.